Hello, and welcome to the Coach Right podcast, where we explore how to turn coaching expertise into published pages. I'm your host, Helen O'Neill, portfolio career specialist, author, and creator of Coach Right, the writing space and program specifically designed for coaches. You can get the episode show notes and your free guide to publishing options at coachright.co.uk. It's time for the next chapter. Welcome to the Coach Right podcast. Helen here, recording on Saturday, the 23rd of May, 2026, and this is episode 23. For the observant amongst you, you will notice it is not a 5-week month, yet here I am with a solo show. And there is a story behind that. A lot of you have been sharing some very kind feedback that you enjoy the podcast and would really appreciate more episodes. That presented a bit of a challenge because it's quite time consuming to find guests, to have preparatory conversations, to do the interview itself, and then do all of the editing and production work that goes on behind the scenes to get the show ready for publication. And even though I absolutely love it, I also have a portfolio career running a coaching practice, writing books, and consulting. So I kept coming back to the question of how I could do a weekly show in a sustainable way. And then a thought occurred to me. I've been releasing a blog with each episode that has been on topics ranging from mindset, craft, or some of the practical publication topics that I get asked questions about most frequently. And I was out on a walk and I thought, why am I not producing that blog in audio format? So, a slight rejig of timings. We will still keep the informational focus of the content, but instead of producing that in written format first, I'll record it in audio first and turn the transcript into a blog. I know, so simple when you say it out loud. So welcome to the Footnotes. These episodes will be shorter, they'll be solo shows, and they will all be on specific topics that will help you on your writer's journey. If you have a specific question that you would like me to cover in one of these shows, please drop me a quick note, helen@coachright.co.uk. The blog has often been inspired by a conversation I've had in one of the interviews, and this first episode of the Footnotes is no different. Today, I want to talk to you all about how to get book reviews. We touched on it very briefly at the end of the interview with Alison Louise in episode 22. And I said that getting reviews for a book is a little bit like when you first start your coaching practice and you're trying to get testimonials. We all know that they're really important. What we don't realise is how difficult they are to get. Think about it. How often have you read the reviews of anything you buy compared to how often you leave a review? I know I'm guilty of reading loads and loads of books and then quickly hitting the star rating on Goodreads. I try my absolute best to leave reviews for independently published books to help discoverability, but honestly, sometimes life just gets in the way. So today we're going to talk about why reviews are important and some practical ways to help you get them. But first, let's start with why. Why are book reviews so important? Well, first of all, they tell the algorithm gods that your book is worth showing to more people. There's social proof, and particularly when your book is new, the more book reviews you can generate, the better. Yes, they will give you the warm and fuzzies, but there were 4 million books uploaded on Amazon last year. If you're browsing and are faced with a choice between reading one book that has got 2 5-star reviews and another book that has got 1,000 reviews and an average of 4.5, you're probably going to choose the second one. Start to think about this before you publish. A few months before publication, consider who to invite to your launch team. These are what we call your advanced readers. You can give them an ARC or an advanced reader copy, normally in ebook format, but you can pay for print if you choose to. The ask is that in exchange for a free copy of your book before it's published, they will do their absolute best to read it and leave an honest review on launch day. You do have to choose your words carefully because it's against Amazon's terms and conditions to require a book review. But what you can do is ask really, really nicely. And you don't need to do hundreds of these. Think about 20 people or so that might be able to help you out. It's enough to kickstart the algorithm on that first day. The next thing to do is make sure that you are making it as easy as possible for people who have read your book to leave a review. At the back, have a page that says something along the lines of, before you go, thank you for reading this book. If you enjoyed it, I'd be grateful if you can spare a few minutes to leave a brief review wherever you purchased it. Reviews are important to an author because they help bring books to the attention of readers. That is the ask in the back of my book, People Who Pivot. You can use it verbatim if you like. Ideally, you want to direct people to Amazon, Goodreads, or your website. Goodreads is becoming increasingly important in these days of generative search. Generally speaking, Amazon readers are slightly more forgiving than Goodreads readers. So if your star rating is slightly lower on Goodreads, don't worry too much about that. Obviously, in order to be able to have reviews, you need to have author profiles on both of those platforms. They're not particularly onerous to set up. They have lots of self-help guides available, but if you get stuck, feel free to drop me a quick email and I'll walk you through it. There are services you can use that will connect you with specific reader communities who are looking to obtain advanced copies. These might be bloggers, librarians, or people who just love to read books and write reviews. These are paid services, so factor that in to your launch budget. NetGalley is the most established, but there's also Book Sirens. Neither of them will guarantee reviews, and it's worth doing some research beforehand because they'll suit certain types of books more than others. Remember your social platforms. Most of us as coaches are posting regularly on LinkedIn. It's a wonderful way to remind people that if they've enjoyed your book, they can leave a review. They've probably been following your journey, and a little reminder to ask them nicely to leave a review goes a long way. When it comes to reviews, remember a few key things. Make sure your ask is super specific. For example, a short Amazon review, even just a sentence, would mean the world, as opposed to something vague like, please let me know what you think. Wherever possible, give people a link directly to the page where they can leave a review. Not the generic Amazon or Goodreads homepage, but the actual section where they would go to leave their review. If you've never left a book review before, go try and find it. It's not quite as easy as you'd imagine. If somebody drops you a note to say they loved your book or mentions it in a post, don't just say thank you. Ask them, once again, very nicely, if they could pop those lovely words into a review. Again, give them the link. And when someone has left you a review, remember to say thank you. Manners cost nothing. I don't need to say anything more about that. And of course, feedback cuts both ways. Eventually, you will get a bad review, somebody that your book did not connect with, someone for whom it did not resonate. Don't take it personally. These are strangers and they don't know you. They don't necessarily mean to be unkind, but for whatever reason, your book is just not a match to what they were looking for. If they are mean, don't bite back. If their feedback is way off the mark, consider a reframe. Sometimes those one-star reviews can be so completely misaligned with the book you are writing, they can be marketing gold. Your 3-star reviews sometimes hold some feedback that can be useful to help make you a better writer. But for anything that's purely subjective, read it and don't take it too personally. If it bothers you, have a conversation with your coach about it. If you don't leave reviews, how can you expect them? Do it after this show. Pick the last book you read that you loved. Write one thing that you thought was brilliant about it, one key takeaway, and who you would recommend reads it. That's your review. Pick a platform and put it out into the world. And then have a cup of tea and feel good about yourself. And so here we have it. Some of my top tips for getting reviews for your book and some information about why they are important. Oh, and reviews are quite important for podcasts too. So if you've been enjoying the show, please remember to subscribe. It tells those algorithm gods that the show is worth sharing with other people. To leave a review on Spotify, you just need to hit the stars. On Apple, you can like and leave a few words. And on YouTube, you can like, subscribe, and leave a comment. It would all mean the world. Next week, we are back to the interview format, and I am delighted to be joined by Phil Renshaw. We're going to be talking all about his book, Coaching on the Go, How to Lead Your Team Effectively in 10 Minutes a Day. I hope you've enjoyed this episode of the Footnotes. I'll see you for the next chapter. Thank you for joining me today. You can get the show notes and your free guide to publishing options at coachwrite.co.uk. Remember to subscribe and leave a review on your podcatcher of choice. Your words can make a difference. A review can too. If you'd like to connect, find me on LinkedIn, O'Neill Helen, that's O'Neill, Oneill, or on Instagram at coach_write. I'll see you for the next chapter of Coach Write.